Dark Discoveries is a podcast that dives into the darker corners of history, mystery, and the downright bizarre. We discuss real events that may include graphic details, adult themes, and strong language. Not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
We're here to inform, entertain, and maybe make you laugh nervous in public, but never to glorify the criminals or make light of their victims. Our research is thorough, but hey, we're not perfect.
We don't claim to be historians, so if we get something slightly off, blame Jimbo. All opinions are our own, and sometimes even those are questionable.
Welcome back to Dark Discoveries. I'm Dustin, and I am with...
I'm Jimbo.
And I'm Jackie.
Jackie. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, we are talking about curses this evening. Not the swearing kind. We're talking about objects that have curses or curse attachments behind them. To start, curses are often used in movies or storytelling, but is there any truth or evidence of actual curses throughout history?
I don't know. Today, I'm coming in with a topic I am 100% unbiased on.
Oh.
Well, I would think maybe the curse of King Tut.
Oh.
There's a lot of information there with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am a huge King Tut fan. Curses can be traced back even to biblical times, most famously when God cursed Adam and Eve and cast them out of the Garden of Eden. Ancient verbal curses may seem funny or entertaining today, but they used to strike fear into the hearts of people. A few of my favorite examples of such verbal curses are, "May the 7 terriers of hell sit on the spools of your breast and bark into your soul case."
That's deep.
It's from Ireland.
And that's dark.
It's very dark. It's very, what's the right word? I don't know.
And do you know a fun
Je ne
fact?
sais quoi?
There are
Sure.
there are no snakes in Ireland.
That's what they say. Yeah. It's the right place to be.
But Boxing Day, that was Canadian. The Simpsons, I don't know why I put that with being Irish. Well, because they hit the snakes and they have to collect the snakes.
All right. Another fun
Irish.
curse, a Yiddish curse. This one is, "She should have stones and not children." It's like, ooh, that's just kind of mean, personally. But yeah. I've got kind of another one here. "If anyone wishes to injure an enemy for a fee, sorcerers will bring harm on good or bad alike, binding through gods to serve their purposes by spells and curses." That is from the philosopher Plato.
Now I have a question.
Yes.
Do you believe in voodoo curses?
Yes, I do.
Dustin?
Mm-hmm.
I have a voodoo doll at my house, and
That's just your wife.
I
She
was
made a
told,
voodoo.
I
on the
was
back.
told it come from a real voodoo shop in New Orleans that they're not always for bad things, but it always seems like they're sticking at my back and my feet and my knees. So I don't know if they're telling me the truth or not.
I'm going to say the doll should not be used by anyone else. It's like, maybe don't do that. All right. Have you guys ever heard of the Hope Diamond?
Yes, I have.
You have.
I have, but not extensive knowledge.
I have seen the Hope Diamond.
Have you? How exciting.
Like my wife, she hopes for a new diamond one day.
Same. It's good. All right. Well, we're going to dive in a little bit about it today. The Hope Diamond was mined from India. It is a beautiful violet cut diamond of the highest quality. This diamond was stolen from a temple in Mandala, Burma in the 17th century. It is unknown what happened to the thief, but the diamond soon fell into the hands of a French trader, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, who sold the diamond to the French King Louis XIV. King Louis had the diamond cut into a heart and gave it to his mistress, Madame de Pan. Gesundheit. Okay. Though she did not get to enjoy this gift for very long. She was publicly disgraced after being accused of black magic scandals. And that the man that sold the diamond to King Louis, he was en route to Russia when he met an untimely death. His remains were found being gnawed on by dogs.
Dogs or wolves?
Dogs.
I just assumed Russia would be wolves.
Yeah, I could see that. So, yeah.
I think all dogs are from wolves, so
Good. Okay.
who knows?
The Hope Diamond remained in the royal collection and was even worn by Marie Antoinette before she was beheaded during the French Revolution. Sadly, amongst the chaos that followed the revolution, the diamond was stolen, and the whereabouts were unknown for over 30 years. It turned up in 1830. A Dutch diamond cutter by the name of William Fowles, Wilhelm's son, unfortunately committed suicide shortly after it became into their possession. The diamond was then sold to a banker by the name of Henry Philip Hope. He gave the diamond his last name, and this must have appeased the diamond because no harm came to Henry. After his passing, the diamond was passed on to a relative, Lord Francis. And shortly after receiving it, Francis's marriage completely fell apart.
So it's really weird that it skipped the one guy and then his relative.
Yeah, but he named it and gave it a title, which I think that might have done something for it.
Well, I was kind of wondering, too, that you said that King Louis the 14th or whatever in France, when he had it cut into the heart-shaped,
Yes.
I wonder what he did with the other pieces of that. Did it break out into make other trinkets and they are cursed as well?
That would be really fascinating. Unfortunately, there's no documentation of that because it was such a long time ago when he took it to a diamond cutter. So I'm sure they just shaved parts away without really caring. But yeah, in today's world, that's what they would do. They would cut it down to something else. In 1904, a man by the name of Jacques Colt, he owned the diamond. He went mad and committed suicide shortly after becoming into his possession. The diamond was then purchased by a Russian nobleman, Prince Kin Olovsky. He gifted it to his lover, which he later shot and killed. So, yeah, real nice gift. Good.
Did he take the diamond back after trying to
I'm
kill her?
assuming.
Well, we know she wasn't buried with it.
Well, unfortunately, he himself was later bludgeoned to death. So
What year was that?
That would have been 1904.
So maybe he got some insurance money.
Well, he didn't get to enjoy it much because he got his out of it too. So after he was bludgeoned, the diamond dealer Habab B came into possession of the diamond. He unfortunately drowned en route with the diamond. And then a Greek diamond dealer, Simon Manthoth Rice, his wife, and his child plunged to their deaths when a horse and carriage they were riding in went over a cliff. The diamond then went on to the Ottoman ruler Abdul Hamid III. Following the arrival of the Hope Diamond, there was an uprising and they overthrew the Sultan. His favorite wife that often was seen wearing this diamond was unfortunately stabbed to death. Okay. Along came the next owner, which was Evelyn Walsh McLean. Evelyn purchased the diamond from a jeweler, Pierre Cartier. Oh, nice.
I've heard of him.
Yes. So
Can't afford it, but I've heard of him.
So at some point, Cartier had their hands on this diamond for a whopping $180,000. Less than a year after purchasing the diamond, Evelyn's son Vincent was killed in a car accident. Evelyn's husband Ned, he started drinking shortly after, and then he left Evelyn for another woman. Finally, Ned lost his mind, and in 1946, Ned and Evelyn's daughter died of an overdose of sleeping pills. Evelyn passed the following year. While she was alive, she received numerous warnings about purchasing this diamond, even letters telling her to get rid of the diamond, spare her family from its curse. But Evelyn always maintained that the bad luck attached to the diamond was purely chance. A direct quote from Evelyn: "What tragedies have befallen me might have occurred had I have never seen or touched the Hope Diamond. My observations have persuaded me that tragedies for anyone who lives are not escapable." Which I think is a pretty insightful thing, but it also sounds like someone who would try and, get out of shit because they purchased the Hope Diamond. As of now, the Hope Diamond permanently resides in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington.
Now, do we know how many people it is supposed to have killed?
It's kind of hard to say because it's the 17th century. I can add up everybody here that it killed, but there is several people that are unknown what betrayed them.
What was the record, like when this first starts showing up on record that this happened?
The soonest it started would have been
When that thief took it.
Can we verify? Is it verifiable at that point, or is it like Cartier got it and then that's when the story started to surface?
The story started in the 17th century. Unfortunately, the diamond thief that stole it, his story isn't known, but it was shortly after that it went to King Louis XIV, and it has a track from King Louis.
It is tracked from that point?
Yes. So it was stolen in the 17th century, disappeared for a little while, suddenly appeared in France, and it's been tracked ever since.
I would say its value of $200 to $350 million is probably the reason there's a story behind it.
Could be. I hear you have a story
Financial
for us this
gain.
evening. Yes.
I do have something. So I'm going to assume everybody that's listening knows who James Dean is or who he was. Despite only being in Hollywood for 3 years, James Dean left behind a legacy that most actors would die for. James Dean represented the youth of the 1950s, young, rebellious, and determined. Think Levi's, white T-shirts, and leather boots. James Dean was the epitome of cool. The James Dean look has inspired every generation since the 1950s. Even Elvis Presley wanted to be like James Dean. James Dean was also a car guy. James Dean loved to race. Motorcycles, cars, it really didn't matter as long as it was fast, loud, and dangerous. Right as James Dean's acting career was about to take off, he was setting his eyes on making a mark in racing. The end goal, the Indianapolis 500. To be fair, most kids in Indiana who love racing want to race something in Indianapolis. Just imagine James Dean running in the Indy 500. That would be the biggest thing that probably ever happened in the history of racing. James Dean had just finished his first leading role in East of Eden, which was dubbed one of the top 400 movies of all times. Now, the top 400 doesn't sound that impressive until you think about 700,000 movies and counting being recorded. That's the top 1%. Jimbo, you like movies. Have you seen East of Eden?
I have. I've also watched Rebel Without a Cause, as well as his movie Giant.
Oh, what would be your favorite?
Giant, for sure.
Giant for sure? Mm-hmm. Do you agree that that's one of the top 1% of movies ever made?
Probably. I mean, I would have loved to seen how much more he could have contributed to the movies if he would have stayed around, because I think the legacy he would have left would have been huge.
Because the legacy now is already pretty huge.
Right.
And
it would have been just monumental at that point.
We're talking, just 3 or 4 years in Hollywood and 3 movies, and you inspired Elvis, one of the biggest cultural icons that our country has ever seen.
Well, can you imagine if Elvis and him ever collaborated on a movie together?
It would have been bigger than the Beatles.
It would have. The ladies
whole lot
would
of
have
pelvis
went,
shaking.
The ladies would have went crazy.
Yeah. I wonder what James Dean would have. If you have old Elvis the pelvis, what would... Well, I think we want to stay PG, so I don't know if I want to go down that road.
Jimmy Dean sausage.
Dean and the Peen.
The sausage is Jimmy Dean. So saying that James Dean was a big deal back then is an understatement. Before filming Rebel Without a Cause, he would start to dabble in racing. He would enter his first race on March 26th and March 27th of 1955. Where do you ask? It was at the Palm Springs races. James Dean would go on to win the novice class race on Saturday, and this would earn him a spot into the main event on Sunday. After a disqualification, he ended up finishing second, which is pretty impressive to go from the amateur class to the kind of what I guess you call the professional class. He would finish second in his Porsche Super Speedster. Pretty much at this moment, James Dean was hooked. And I can kind of tell you, once you get racing in your blood, it's pretty hard to get it out. A month after this race, he would enter a race in Bakersfield where he would win his class and finish third overall. James Dean would race his last race on May 30th in Santa Barbara, California on Memorial Day 1955. He wouldn't finish that race due to an engine failure. Warner Brothers wasn't a fan of James Dean's racing. Racing in the 1950s was pretty dangerous. Safety equipment was basically non-existent. Cotton overalls, goggles, leather boots, gloves, and a crude helmet was pretty much what you had. Most cars didn't have any type of roll cage. At most, they would have maybe a hoop behind the driver in case you rolled it over, which you see how tall those coops are. It's probably not going to save your neck. And for these reasons listed, Warner Brothers just didn't want him racing. It was too dangerous. He was worth too much to them.
Well, you got to remember back then, the movie stars were actually signed contracts to the different companies like MGM, Universal, whatever.
They owned you.
They did for that certain period of time. So they could pretty much tell you what you could and couldn't do.
Exactly. But like we said, once he got that first initial, bug to go racing, it didn't leave him. So once he finished his scenes for the movie Giant, he was itching to race again. In July, James Dean would put down a deposit for a Lotus Mark 9, but its delivery date would be delayed. So instead, he would go ahead and trade that in for a Porsche Speedster. The new Porsche was faster than his previous Porsche.
Would you say he was an adrenaline junkie?
Absolutely. I mean,
because he's like, I got to push, but I got to get a faster Porsche.
Yeah, you want to race, it's not there. So, that Porsche Speedster he had wasn't as fast as that new Porsche 550 Spider, if I can spit that out. This was only one of 90 that were built. So guys that raced, these were made for guys to go out and race. They were highly sought after. It's what you needed to compete for the time. And as part of that deal, acquiring that car and buying it, he had to have a Porsche mechanic go with him. And that's going to be pretty important down the road. The Porsche Spiders were offered, like I said, to privateer racers. And like I said, a part of that deal, you had to have that Porsche mechanic. Dean's mechanics was Rolf. Please don't hate me for butchering this name. We're going to say Walterreich. Once the filming would wrap in mid-September 1955, they were itching to go race. Dean would have Dean Jeffries, a well-known custom painter, do the pinstripe work, put the numbers on the doors, on the hood, the trunk, along with his nickname, Little Bastard. It was just above the license plate. The Little Bastard nickname was given to James Dean by Warner Brothers stuntman Bill Hickman, who Dean would affectionately call Big Bastard. I think if I had a nickname, it'd probably be Big Bastard because I'm making most people look pretty small. So,
Didn't you star in that Austin Powers movie?
Oh, Jimbo.
You've never seen
now
the
you're trying to say I'm a fat bastard. Oh, I've seen it. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
You brought it up.
So just so happens that Jeffrey's shop was next to another famous car builder shop, George Barris. You may not know who George Barris is, but you're probably going to be familiar with his work. He designed and made the Munsters Mobile and the original Batmobile. A week before the fatal crash, James Dean met British actor Alec Guinness in Los Angeles. Guinness had an ominous feeling on seeing the Porsche and would later write in his diary, "The sports car looked sinister. To me, exhausted, hungry, feeling a little ill-tempered, in spite of Dean's kindness, I heard myself saying in a voice I could hardly recognize as my own, 'Please never get in it. If you get in that car, you'll be found dead within the next week.'"
So he sensed a disturbance in the force.
It's easy to say when you look back. I can say anything in the back. So was that really said? There's not going to be a lot of witnesses to that, but
if he wrote in his journal the same day before the
book.
accident happened.
So you can edit, but I've said that to people. Hey, you get in that car, you're going to kill yourself, and hopefully you kind of get them to, all right, it's something dangerous. Let me calm down. Let me look at what I'm doing and be smart. On September 30th, 1955, Dean was heading to a race in Salinas, California. With his Porsche mechanic, they were driving Little Bastard to break the engine in. They had some work done. I seen some stuff where the rules said you had to have so many miles on the car. Most likely it's probably you did some motor work to it. You want to break it in, have it ready to go. Most motors have to be broke in. Everything's seated. You don't have any issues. You're good to go. But the Porsche was, you got a picture that this is a small silver car, low to the ground, probably not the easiest thing to spot. Speculations come up on how fast they were really going. I've seen some saying that, speed limit was 75 or 55. They were doing 75, 85. I'm sure people are going to start claiming it was higher than that. But around 5:45 on Route 466 near Claim, I'm going to say, like I said, butcher me in the comments. Hit us up in the face group. Say that, I can't read. That's okay. We have thick skin here because we're fat, as Jimbo likes to point out. A young guy named Donald Turnspeed pulled his Ford out on the highway. He didn't see James Dean coming. The cars would pretty much hit head on. Dean would be pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. At 24 years old, like I said, 3 years, the biggest actor in the world is gone. Now, I told you to kind of remember what is his mechanic. He would survive the wreck, and like I said, so would the guy driving the other vehicle. Unfortunately, the crash for Rolf was pretty bad. I know they said it broke his hip, had some other issues. He would take, I think they said 18 months to recover. He would have severe psychological problems and would battle with depression and would have suicidal tendencies till the end of his life. He would ultimately resort to alcohol for dealing with the pain and his problems. Some of James Dean's fans would send him death threats, blaming him for the wreck. Later, his second wife would also accuse him of killing James Dean. So I don't know, if there's anything behind the scenes, if he talked about it. He never really did any interviews about what happened, but are you pushing him to drive the car a little tougher, a little faster? You're getting used to it. It's his idea. So is it out of spite because you're a second wife and you're going through something bad? Or do you really think that he was behind something?
Well, I wonder if the guy that pulled out in front of him, hit him head on, I wonder if he got death threats.
I'm sure if it came out, that time it was. Do
you know if he got injured?
I think he got a little bit beat up, but he was in a big, you got to remember this car's probably 1,600 pounds. It's a car to race versus, a big, heavy 4,000 pound, car of the time. It's going to take a lot more abuse than that little car will.
Yeah.
Rolf had a failed murder-suicide attempt in May of 1967. He would serve some time in a mental institution for this versus prison. In July of 1981, he did sign a contract to do a show about James Dean's death. While driving drunk, he would die on July 22nd, 1981. It was the James Dean's death that pretty much haunted him his whole life. that guilt. He also was a fun fact about him. He was a Luftwaffe mechanic during World War II. So, I mean, I'm sure there was things that happened wartime that probably messed with him mentally. The wreck of James Dean, the biggest icon of the time, probably didn't help. And I know it was a short time, but I'm sure they probably became friends. Car guys kind of bond together. So here you are, you know, I mean, maybe you did tell him to push the car. You know, it's your idea to go out there and drive it. It is a good idea to get used to the car, get acclimated. It's a brand new car you haven't drove much. Drive it to the track. You'll get used to it. It's going to help you on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day they raced. So he's going to have that as something that's just going to constantly, you know, be in the back of your head. I know a lot of people struggle with the what ifs. The world would lose its brightest young star, but the story doesn't end here. Despite being a total loss by insurance company, the car would be sold and continue to cause carnage wherever it would go. Most of the usable parts were going to be salvaged, used in other cars, which I'm thinking you wreck a car like that, it's probably not going to be 100% square, like the rear end and stuff, transaxle was taken out. I'm going to guess maybe some things weren't exactly the way they were supposed to be after getting in a wreck like that. Dr. William Esrich would buy the Porsche from the salvage yard in Burbank and proceed to strip all the usable parts. He installed the Porsche engine into his Lotus 9 race car, kind of same thing that Dean was looking for. He then loaned the transmission and suspension parts to a fellow doctor and racer, Troy McHenry. The doctor would crash his Lotus at the Panoma sports car races in 1956. He would survive, but McHenry, who would also race in that race and wreck, wouldn't be so lucky. He hit a tree and was killed in that same race. Shortly after the crash, publicity monger and self-proclaimed king of custom cars, George Barris bought the car, promising to rebuild it. When the mangled frame was found it was beyond recovery, Barris pretty much chose to capitalize on the publicity of the car, the fame. He looked at I'm assuming you see it, you're looking for a monetary gain. The Porsche would be loaned to the Los Angeles chapter of the National Safety Council, and from 1957 to 1959, it would go on a gruesome tour of car shows, cinemas, and bowling alleys. So they were, advertising, don't drive fast. This is what happens. You're trying to get people to, you're trying to use a tragedy to possibly prevent something bigger or more. In March of 1959, while in storage, the car mysteriously caught fire. It suffered remarkably little damage. 2 melted tires and some singed paint was all they said that happened to it. It's a total car. Like, could you really tell if you scratched it? It's if you look up pictures, it was just totally mangled. Barris said he had sold a pair of the tires from the 550 Spider, and both reportedly blew at the same time, causing the new parts owners to careen off the road. I don't know why you'd want to buy tires off a car that was wrecked. I'm still trying to figure this part out. Chances are that the rims were bent. There are other unconfirmed stories of the little bastard's post-accident life. The car is said to have fallen from a display while on show in Sacramento, breaking the hip of a bystander. The Spider also reportedly fell and killed George Barris's transport driver that would travel with it when he was doing that road and safety expo. The Porsche is rumored to have disappeared from a sealed boxcar in 1960 while en route from Miami to Los Angeles. Some believe that Barris, ever the showman, fabricated the story in ways of keeping the car's mystique alive. Like we said, you're promoting it as something that you can make money on. I'm sure there was money changing hands for people to look at the car. they were talking about stealing people's bodies in the early 1900s to have people pay to look at it. I'm sure you paid to see this car.
Do you think when he advertised as, come see the car that James Dean wrecked?
Absolutely. Like I didn't dive into the we're going to just call it the propaganda that he put out for it, because why else would you buy it? Like he was coming along. He was doing okay. He was making a name for himself. But you have something iconic. People want to come see it. You're dumb not to make money on it. So the photos shot at the scene show the car was mangled pretty much beyond recognition. Yet the car George Barris was displaying was more tastefully damaged. It sounded like they got some aluminum, made a body, and beat it up with some 2x4s when this car was completely wrecked. You look at the picture side by side, it doesn't take a genius to say the car that's on display isn't the real car. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, the constant showman that George Barris was, pretty much from what I can tell, was probably the person behind every story. Chances are the car was bought, a few things were taken that were usable, and it was probably scrapped. But you want to capitalize. So Lee Raskin is a James Dean historian, and he's pretty much like me, convinced that Barris's stories are all total fabrications. Several are obviously false when you see the pictures of the cars. Raskin says that the carcass of the 550 was bought not by Barris, but by a local physician who we talked about, William, like I said, we're going to say Esrich, who salvaged what he could and trashed the chassis. Chances are it's been up. You could never fix it. It is a rare car, though, so that's another thing. I mean, it's one of 90. I wonder how many survived to today, because they weren't very much to begin with, and they were made to race. Although the front hood and the rear deck lid appeared to be original on Barris's car, he pretty much theorizes that they cobbled together some aluminum sheets and then pummeled it with 2x4s. So we kind of talked about that. Despite a $1 million reward for information being offered in 2005, the whereabouts of the Porsche Spyder are still unknown. With Barris himself gone, no signs of the car has been seen for 60 years, pretty much putting an end to the haunting story of the little bastard. I know some stuff popped up a few years back where somebody claimed that they seen it being put in behind a false wall in a like a shop, but that person doesn't own the building, so they can't go in there and find it. He was asking for half of the money, and then he would show it to him. But if you don't own the building, the property, the car, you really can't collect on it. So I think it was somebody probably trying to scam some money out of somebody, but you can never prove it.
Do you think they took the scrap metal and made little trinkets out of it? Own a piece of the car that James Dean died in.
I'm sure somebody did.
I don't know when that morbid fascination happened. I'm sure at that point, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, people would go and they would soak handkerchiefs in blood.
Well, you got to think
they would try to cut hair.
We used to do public hangings. That was entertainment and execution.
And you would pay to go see that. So I'm sure somebody's tried to do it, but if you're a friend of James Dean and you're racing with him, I can just see, you kind of, let's get what we can, destroy the rest, and move on. Because I can't remember the number, but the Transaxle recently sold, I think, for like $340,000 or something like that. So anything that now is related to that car can be huge money. Mm-hmm. And if it was out there, somebody would be like, okay, that reward that you're going to give us, this car is, the historical significance would be way more than what you're trying to offer.
Way more.
Do you think there's any truth to the fact that any of that car could be cursed?
No, I think George Barris made it up to have that story to where you can put it in books, you can talk about it, you can write about it. It's sad because I don't know what Rolf would talk about if they got that show filmed. Like I said, he never talked about it. And maybe some information could be shed where it maybe would have went, but like I said, that's lost to time.
Interesting.
Hope I didn't butcher that topic too much because it was pretty fun to research, and it's definitely a rabbit hole you can go down to just on all the theories. There's more out there, but it just doesn't seem plausible, so I'm not going to really dive deep into that one. Mm-hmm. Jimbo, what's this I hear about you and crying pictures of boys or what?
So we let Jackie pick the topics this week and delegate them to us once again.
You were slow on picking.
Well, I'm sorry I was at work when you guys were sending all these
She
messages.
said we could talk about the Hope Diamond, crying boy paintings or James Dean's. Yeah, sign me up.
And at first I thought he was talking about the boys when he said that. I was like, wow, he's really going at
He's
them.
really for this. Yes. I have to say, though, yours, seriously, I am creeped out by these paintings.
I like to denounce a lot of things, obviously. So you've kind of heard some of the mythical creatures, all this stuff, these urban legends, jackalopes. Now, a neutral
We
rat.
haven't covered jackalopes. What conversation was this? I wasn't
want
there for
you
that.
to look up a neutral rat and do me. You're telling me that there's this rat creature with carrot-looking teeth? That is real.
What is he talking about?
You've never
don't know.
You've never seen a neutral rat? That's what we should talk about. The neutral rat.
No, we're talking about crying boys.
But you want to talk about jackalopes and
I think we should talk about Rouse's rodents of unusual size. I don't think they exist.
you want to talk about this fake stuff. Let's talk about the real stuff.
Well, here we go. We're
But
going to
in all
talk about
seriousness,
this real stuff.
No more rhyming, and I mean it.
From what I've heard,
Anybody want a peanut?
I'm not going to laugh. I need all the luck I can get, so I'm not going to mess with this curse.
Yeah,
You won't
don't-
because
don't
I'll
mess
probably
with
end
these
up
guys.
buying you a picture for your house.
I'm not putting
So
it
here
up
we
in
go.
my house.
This is the curse of the crying boy. Have you ever looked into a child's eyes and felt something uncanny?
Yes.
Well, we know your daughter.
My daughter is
Well, when
not
you look in the eyes, the kid gets quiet, and you look in her eyes, and she's just telling you,
She's
I
she's
pooped.
evil Knievel incarnate. Yes.
But I'm not just sadness, but something deeper, like a lingering shadow behind the gaze. Now imagine that gaze watching you every day from a painting hanging on your wall. Well, today for my story, we're unraveling the chilling legacy of one of the most infamous paintings of the 20th century, The Crying Boy. A painting that not only captured sadness and brushstrokes, but according to many, brought fire and misfortune to anyone who dared to hang it in their home. So we're going to talk about the painting that wouldn't burn. It all started in the 1950s in a post-war Europe. A Spanish painter named Bruno Amadeo, also known by the alias Giovanni Bragolin, created a series of paintings depicting sorrowful, terror-streaked children. The most famous of these became simply known as The Crying Boy. They were mass-produced, they were cheap prints, and they were hung in thousands of homes across Europe and especially in the UK during the 1970s and the 1980s. But what seemed like sentimental decor soon became something much more sinister. Firefighters began to notice a pattern. Houses were burning down, destroyed by flames, reduced to ash, and yet in the wreckage, the crying boy remained untouched and unscathed. Reports started to circulate. Was the painting cursed? Could it be causing these fires? The tabloid The Sun ran the headline in 1985, "Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy." That's when the panic truly ignited. No pun
I see what
intended.
you did there. Yeah.
So the fire brigade files. In researching the story, I found archived statements from UK fire services, especially from the Yorkshire area, confirming a strange consistency. One retired firefighter quoted in The Sun said, "I've been to over 50 house fires where that painting was found, always intact. Nothing else survived." And there's another quote here from a retired fire chief. "It was always eerie. We'd walk into the rubble, and there it was, a pristine face of a crying boy, never a scorch mark. One time it was laying face down in an untouched patch of floor like the flames had avoided it." The fear spread quickly. People began removing the prints from their walls. Some even burned them in public gatherings. But would they burn?
Did they burn?
There are rumors, true or not, that some paintings resisted flames even when they were set alight. Skeptics pointed to a flame retardant coatings on the prints, but believers insisted it was a curse. But who was the crying boy? So we're going to explore some theories and rational explanations. So I'm going to play Dustin. I'm going to take a look through a skeptical lens for a moment.
Well, good, because if this is cursed, I don't need no bad luck. So you play me all you want. I'll criticize you.
So some investigators and psychologists suggest the painting became a cognitive scapegoat. A mass-produced object was simply common in homes, especially in working-class areas hit hardest by electrical fires. Dr. Lucy Green, a psychologist specializing in mass hysteria, explains, people need symbols in times of tragedy. A painting surviving a fire becomes a narrative focal point, and that narrative snowballs into something supernatural. Others point to simple chemistry. The prints were covered with a fire-retardant lacquer. That's why they didn't burn. Not accursed, just chemicals.
But fire retardant doesn't mean fireproof.
Still, that doesn't explain the number of houses and the fires, the weird timing of it all. So we're going to talk a little bit about rituals, burnings, and urban legends. By the late 1980s, the crying boy was more than a painting. It was a cultural phenomenon. Bonfires were held. People melted the paintings to the sun just to get rid of them. A radio station even encouraged a mass burning live on air. And like any good ghost story, the myth morphed. Some say the curse activates only when you mock the painting. Others say you must hang it alone, never near other art. Urban legends continue to this day. Reddit threads, TikTok stories, and YouTube videos still document strange coincidences and creepy experiences tied to the painting. You can even buy the prints online right now. Would you hang one in your home, Dustin?
No. It's just not my taste.
Jackie?
Absolutely not.
Well, I'm going to have to return your Christmas present. So today, the crying boy is an internet oddity, a piece of post-war kitsch, and a canvas of modern folklore. Art galleries have displayed it as an example of cursed art. Paranormal investigators still request to study the originals, and on eBay, prints still sell, some marketed as cursed and others ironically. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the impact of the crying boy lies in how we as humans create stories, especially around images that haunt us emotionally. So, is the crying boy cursed? Or is it simply a sad-eyed scapegoat for tragedy? Maybe the answer is both. I'll leave you with this. If you owned the painting, would you burn it or would you keep it?
I definitely wouldn't burn it.
Because it won't burn.
It won't burn. Right. Yes.
If you have your own cursed art story or even have one of these Crying Boys paintings, please send us an email at darkdiscoveriespod@gmail.com and send it our way. We might just feature it in an upcoming listener episode. Or if you want to mail a print,
I can get you Jimbo's address.
Jackie Johnson.
No.
We can get you Jimbo's address to get that sent to if you want to donate.
So, Dustin, what do you think? Do you think the curse of the Crying Boy paintings is real or no?
I tend to not believe in all the supernatural stuff, but I'm going to say I probably don't. But
you're not going to hang one in your house.
Not going to hang it in my house. But I do know people that claim things as far as the bricks from the garage from the St. Valentine's Day massacre. Supposedly one guy got a whole bunch of them, sold them, and everybody that got one had bad luck. He fell into bad luck, so I'm not going to tip my fate in something potentially cursed.
Jackie?
I definitely believe that there are things out there that have attachments to them. And whether or not the Crying Boy painting has one, it has enough of a backbone.
See, there's a picture of him right there. You see that?
Yeah, he looks very sad. I've even read in the past that he was a lone survivor of a fire, and that's why he was painted that way, which is...
I was trying to find that. I could not find or verify who the actual original Crying Boy was.
And so I'll pull up what I've got, and we'll put some stuff onto it. But originally, that he was a lone survivor of a home fire, and he was painted that way. And that's the stories I've heard. I can't confirm or deny if that's true, but that's what I know of him. And it has a heart pulling thing. I don't know.
It's just you don't like to see kids hurt.
That's just it.
And I think that's part of the attraction to these photos, because the one thing we want to do is protect our children. And when you see a child hurt and crying, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to console them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very telling. Maybe that's why this print is so latched onto and in every home, because they want to make sure that all the kids are protected. Now, we have talked a lot about curses tonight and cursed objects. What, Dustin?
That must be why they don't put sad kids in picture frames. The picture's always happy people or flowers.
There's no happy mistakes, or they're only happy mistakes. Is that what you're saying? But who knows? Maybe we'll do another cursed objects episode, because there is a lot of them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But for now, I believe Jackie has our missing child information for this week.
Yes. This week we are in Tennessee. We are looking for Johnny Watson. Janae Watson. She is 15 years old, female, African American. Hair color is black, potentially last seen in long braids. The eye color is brown, height 5'3", weight 110 pounds. She's missing from Kingsport, Tennessee. She's been missing since March 31st of 2025. Anyone with any information, please contact the Kingsport Police Department at 423-246-9111 or at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
Very well. Let's try to help find her and locate her and bring her back to her family. So, Dustin, you have went and created several different stickers, holographic stickers, and we decided that we want to do something a little special for the listeners.
Oh, so now you want me to give away my stuff. I see how this is. You want the cursed objects sent to your house for your pleasure. But
no, I'm sending it to your houses.
I got to go spend my
Yes.
I got to spend my cheeseburger money to buy stickers so we can send them out. So drop us a like, a comment, preferably on Spreaker or some of the major. I don't know if they all come into one place.
Like Apple Podcast, probably.
I don't mess with Apple, so I think if you've got an Apple, you're kind of out of luck. But
anywhere that this podcast,
you know what?
airs.
Screenshot, just screenshot your comment and email it to us, and we'll choose one of those 5-star reviews that you're going to give us.
Actually, I got one better. What we can do is on our Facebook group, if you join our Facebook group, the Dark Discoveries podcast group on Facebook, I will make a post and say, okay, this is for the contest for some stickers. There was a secret word that we said during the podcast on this episode, and all you have to do is reply to this comment.
Not this episode. So on the H.H. Holmes Jack the Ripper episode, I misquoted a number.
And that is in part 1. Ripper
No, it's going to be in part 1 that's already released. Tell me what that number should be.
The fraction that you said it was.
It was a fraction of it. I missed my sleep deprivation, maybe caused me to add another number to the original number. But if you give us that number, the first person to give us the correct answer will get 2-3 stickers and a magnet.
Wow, he threw in a magnet.
Wow.
And this
Big
is
spender.
Going big.
These holographic stickers
They
are
are cool.
something else.
Yeah.
So you'll be one of the few.
The proud.
Maybe one of them may never get printed again. A
Really?
color variant may never get printed again. So you'd have one of 10.
Oh, you're really drawing them in.
Wow.
Can't think of how many people want one of these. But
Well, when nobody does the contest.
Well, no.
I like making contests like that, so I got to keep them all for myself. I'm just
And-
going to sticker up the world.
And we are working on merchandise, T-shirts, hats, aprons, shower curtains. Dustin, how's that coming along?
If I can figure out the website, we've got the stuff, hopefully, where we can print some shirts pretty reasonable, and you guys can order those logos are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to give another.
Who is our shout out to the
I'm
artist?
going to give another shout out to my buddy Alex Stiff at Stiff Media. Catch him on Facebook, and he dabbles in some podcast stuff on the Something Good Network. So if you're into some gaming stuff, he does a lot of. He's into Pokemon stuff. It's not my jam, but Alex is good people, so you can hop on his stream. Check that out. If you're not sure, send us a message on Facebook, and I'll get you hooked up with him. He's always looking for video work, graphic art design stuff. He's, like I said, a really cool guy. He's got a nice style that's not quite what everybody else is doing. So
yeah, he did really good work here.
So
Jackie,
Yes.
just remember, the deeper you dive,
The darker it gets.
remember, kids, only you can prevent forest fires.